I'm here at the V3 APB Dispatch website, and I'm going to sign in with the R&D Transportation credentials. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the Account Settings page. Here, we're going to set up some settings. Up at the top here is where we indicate the format of our contact list. In each of these boxes, we're going to put the number of the column where this type of information appears. So here I have your sample contact list, and let's just look at each one of these. So first, the name. This is used for replacing the variable name in a script. Now, because you might want to say something like, "Hello, George," or "Hello, Susan," usually you want the name to actually be the first name rather than the last name. So here you have first name in column 2. The first column is column 1, not column 0. So this is column number 2. I'll put 2 here in this box. The next one is address. Now, you might think at first glance this is something like the home address of the person, but that's not true. This is the address to which the message will be sent. So, for example, if you're sending phone calls or text messages, the address is the phone number. If you're sending emails, the address is the email address. So we'll go over here in your spreadsheet, and I see that home phone is in column K. So let's figure out what number that is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'll type 11 here. The next 4 columns, date, time, doctor, and location, are all used for replacing these variables in the script. So if you wanted to say, "Hello, George, you will be picked up on date at time," you can here indicate which column you have the date and time in your spreadsheet. So I'm trying to interpret the spreadsheet correctly, but of course you can go in and change these things however you want them. I'm guessing that this column M is probably what you want to use as the time when you replace it in your script. So this, I think, is in column 13. So I'll put 13 here for time. You, of course, don't have to use every column. You only have to fill in the numbers for the columns that you actually use. Doctor and location both replace those variables in the script. The reason why it's doctor and location here is because many times this application is used for doctor scheduling applications, but you could use doctor for any other column that you wanted. What we do is we just replace whatever's in that particular column in place of doctor. So, for example, if you wanted this to be the home street or something like that, you could fill that in here, and then every time you have doctor in the script, it would replace whatever is in that column for that variable doctor. Send date and time is used if you have a column in your spreadsheet indicating when you want the message to go out. And I don't think you have that in this spreadsheet, so I'll leave this blank. Yes, no is for a column that indicates whether or not you want that message to be sent. For example, some customers want to only send out a message, let's say, if a particular value in a column is greater than a particular number or less than a particular number. So having this column available allows them to have a column where they use an Excel formula to put a 1 or a 0 in here, whether they want that message to go out or not. But I think you also don't have that in this spreadsheet, so I'll leave that one blank also. Now, date format is what format you're providing the date in, and I think you don't have that, so it doesn't matter what we select, but we can do month, day, year, year, month, day, or day, month, year. And you do have time, so here you just have to indicate whether it's a 12-hour or a 24-hour, and I think that you have a 12-hour thing here, so we'll have that. Moving down the list of settings here, this next section is used if you want to be able to trigger messages to go out by a phone call instead of by actually clicking the send button. And I think that this particular customer is not using that, but if they are, please let me know and I'll make sure that that's set up correctly for you here. Otherwise, I'll leave this blank. Time zone here is self-explanatory. Voice and language, the default is to have the message spoken by a man in English, but if your messages are another language, or if you want the message to be spoken by a woman, you can make a different selection here. The morning and evening blackout times are used if you want to make sure you never send messages accidentally at the wrong time. So if you want to make sure you never send messages, say in the middle of the night or something like that, you could set the evening blackout to, let's say, 8 p.m. and the morning blackout to, say, 7 a.m. And then messages, even if you try to send them between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m., they won't go out. That's to prevent accidentally disturbing the people who are receiving the calls. Default call attempts is the number of times that we'll try the call before we give up on it. You just want to make sure that this is at least one. The number of retry minutes is the number of minutes between your first call and your second call if you have more than one call attempt. Then you do the type of message to send. So you can send SMS, email, or voice calls. So you select that. The redirect number is, let's say you are making a call to customers, and in your call you say, press 1 to talk to an attendant. If you put here the phone number of the attendant, when the person presses 1, they can be redirected to that number. These last two fields are for if you've placed a call, but it doesn't complete because of no answer, invalid number, or something else. We'll send a notification by SMS to this number or by email to this email address. Okay, now I'll go ahead and save these settings, and let's go back to the home page and make sure that this is importing our script correctly. I'll go down here to the contact list and browse. The format of your contact list has to be either a TXT or a CSV, and yours is a CSV, so we're good to go there. And then load the file to the work table. And here we have just one person, and I'll click on it to make sure that it looks okay. If something was not read correctly when importing the file, it will show up in red text. So you see this first one, it read the headings of the columns as a contact, and it didn't read it correctly. So you can see that things are wrong there. But the second one shows up in black text, so we know that that one was read okay. Another way to check that everything looks okay is to select and then add the selected to the active list, or you could do add all to the active list, and in this case it will load only the rows that were read correctly and appear in black text to the active list. In the active list, it shows you what it has read for each of these different columns. So we see that the name looks correct, the address looks correct. I think the time looks correct here. the time is always converted into 24-hour format. So we can see that the 8:20 a.m. in the spreadsheet was read correctly here. And yes, no is yes, which means it's going to go out. And so now we are ready to go ahead and send our message. Before we actually go and send a test message, let's go up and look at the script. I see that you have a script here for testing, but it looks like there might be something wrong with your variables. You need to make sure that the variable is one of the accepted variables that you can put in here. One easy way to tell what's accepted is just to click on this drop-down list. Let me move this window over so you can see this in the screen here. There we go. For example, you have I see you have a variable day here, which will say or display the day of the week. And you also have a variable time. Now for time, you actually have to be a little bit more specific. You can say the time as the 24-hour or 12-hour or part of day, but you have to specify which one. So for example, let's suppose you want to say the time in 12-hour format. We would put time 12HR. I'm not going to save this because I don't want to mess up anything you're in the process of doing. So you'll need to go and make this same change to your script. So now what you want to do, if you want to save this script for the future, you could give it a name and then do save active script to the cloud, and then you'd be able to get it later on from this drop-down list. All right, now when you are ready to send a test message, there are a couple of ways that you can check to see if you have done everything correctly. One way is to select your message. I had added this to the active list before. Here we go. All right. What we could do is we could schedule this message to be sent in the future. So I could check this box to override the send date time of the messages with the following, and then I could pick a date. This date picker will show up correctly if you're using Chrome. So use the Chrome browser and you'll get this nice date picker. I can pick a date and a time to send the message in the future, because then when I choose to either send the message to all in the active list or send the message to the selected in the work table, it will show up as a scheduled message and I can inspect it before it actually goes out. So I'll show you that as an example here. Let's do 5:00 p.m. I'll send the message to all in the active list, which is just this one person. So now down here, it shows that this message is scheduled. And if I click on it, I can see all of the details about this message. When it's scheduled to go out, the address it's going to be sent to, and then the script. So I can see if the date and time showed up correctly here. Delivered tomorrow, Wednesday, Tuesday at 8:20 a.m. That seems a little strange. So I go up here. I see in the script it says to be delivered tomorrow, Wednesday, and then we use the variable time. So we probably don't want to do that. You probably want to take out this Wednesday. And again, I'm not going to save this. You can adjust your script however you actually want it to be. So now I can click on this message, and I don't actually want to send it, so I'm going to delete that message. And now I can change my script, however I want to, and then I can send the message in the future again, and I can see it pop up here as a scheduled message, and we can look at it to see if it looks correct. And then the next step of sending a text message would be to actually schedule it to go out now and make sure that it shows up coming to me correctly. I think that's all there is to tell you about for now. If you have any questions, let me know and I can help you out. Thanks.